back to that very first issue of Fast Company. And one of the first articles in our first issue was a really funny piece by a guy named E.F. Borish. E.F. Borish was the son of the founder of this really successful manufacturing company actually in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was doing fine, doing well. He took it over from the old man, and he had all kinds of, I think, really intriguing ideas about new ways to connect with customers, new markets to enter, new ways to organize work at the company. And every time he would try to introduce one of these ideas, he'd get resistance, pushback, objections from his colleagues, and it started to drive him crazy. So he decided to sit down and write an article that we published called 50 Reasons Why We Can't Change. And there was no introduction to the article, no conclusion to the article. It was just literally a numbered list from 1 to 50 of all the objections to change he had heard from his colleagues. And what was funny about it was all of the specific objections kind of contradicted one another. So number one was, we've never done anything like this before. Do we have the guts to do it? Number two was, didn't we try this 3 years ago? I don't think it worked. Why would we do it again? Number seven was, none of our competitors have ever done anything like this. Do we really want to be the first out of the gate? Number eight was, isn't our major competitor doing something kind of like this? It feels a little bit copycat. Number 22 or whatever was, that'll never work here. We're too big. We're kind of cumbersome and bureaucratic. Number 23 was, that'll never work here. We're too small. We don't have the resources. I mean, it was so on and on it went, one more contradictory to the next. Now, here's the punchline. We published that article with great fanfare in early 1996. That article was actually, all we did is reprint an article that E.F. Borish first published, believe it or not, in 1959 in an obscure journal called Product Engineering News. And our point to our readers then, and my point to you this afternoon, is that the more things change, the more the objections to change remain the same, which is why your first job, wherever you are in the organization, your first job as a leader or a change agent is to convince your colleagues, and maybe deep down to convince yourselves, that in the world that Coop described, playing it safe may be the riskiest course of all. Change begins to happen when people finally conclude that the risk of trying something new is less than the cost of clinging to what's worked in the past. That is a big shift in mindset, but it's the mindset that lets you go about the business of inventing the future.